Let's have a session on sole traders. Remember, sole traders are unincorporated businesses. The definition of a sole trader is a business that is owned by one individual who retains all the profits generated by the business. But remember, a sole trader is allowed to employ people. The majority of UK businesses are in fact sole traders. So why would you want to be a sole trader? Let's go through the pros. Well, firstly, it's a very simple setup process to become a sole trader and get those sales immediately because your business is up and running. It's cheap to do, it's quick to do, and also taxes are very easy because they're just in line with income tax. Number two is that there is no need to publish accounts. So your accounts, your finances are private, and this might make a difference if you have competitors within your market or your niche market, as it were, and they want to look at your accounts, or they can't. Number three is that you can retain all profits because all the profits are yours. There's no shareholders, there's no partners, so 100% of the profits are yours. Number four, and perhaps a very important one, is decision making. Because as a sole trader, because that you are the one individual in that sole trader who makes all the decisions, you have all the control over the business. So you can steer the business in the direction that you want to. On the other side, the disadvantages of being a sole trader. Well, as I said earlier, it's an unincorporated type of business. So therefore it has unlimited liability. So personal assets are at risk if the business fails. Number two is that there's fewer sources of finance available as a sole trader. And you cannot issue shares because you're not a company. And maybe because of that, you can't get the sources of finance that you require in order to expand. So maybe expansion is slower, is harder because you can't get that capital, you can't get that finance. Number three is, as a sole trader, you're the one individual who's running the business, running the show. Yes, you have the ability to employ people, but that costs. But therefore, it probably means that you need to be multi-skilled. You need to have lots of skills available to you. You need to be able to make the production of whatever your product is, the marketing of whatever your product is, and the distribution of your product. So many skills may be required there. And number four, the final one, is it's difficult to take a holiday as a sole trader because you are the one individual that's running the business. And in many cases, sole traders don't in fact employ other people. So if they take a holiday, well, that means there's going to be no income for that period. Now, a very common question that you might see on sole traders is a longer question on a context and if a sole trader should turn into a private limited company or should they stay as a sole trader. And it might be a recommend type question or an advise or a justify type of question. For this, if you see that type of question, you need to think about PLUMS. Good old PLUMS, okay? Let's go through it. So P, what does P stand for? P is how the profits are distributed and how they might change if you're a sole trader or if you're a private limited company. The old thing here, the classic one, is that, well, if you're a sole trader, it means slower expansion, but it means you keep that 100% of those profits. Versus if you become a private limited company, well, you might get the expansion, but the profits might be higher, so the percentage cut might mean that profits overall are actually a bigger number, even though you're not getting 100% of the profits. So P is how the profits will be distributed in which business ownership structure you go for. The next bit of PLUMS is the L and the U, is will you have limited liability or unlimited liability? Obviously, if you're a sole trader, you're going to have unlimited liability. If you're a private limited company, it's in the name, you're going to have limited liability. So you might want to question if the entrepreneur, if they have any personal assets. Do they have a house? Do they have a car? If they don't, then there's not so much at risk. If they do, well, there's the house and the car at risk. So maybe they want to be a private limited company. Now, the M is about management and control. Clearly, if you are a sole trader, you retain all of the control in your business. And if you've got a headstrong entrepreneur that wants to maintain and retain all of that control and the decision making of their business and steer where the business goes, well, then maybe being a sole trader is for you. And if you're looking to have to give some control away to shareholders to get finances, well, then you need to weigh up about how much control that entrepreneur wants. And the last thing in PLUMS is S. So sources of finance. Is there a need for finance? Maybe the sole trader wants to expand. And if they want to expand to become a private limited company, well, are they able to do it? Because maybe they need to become a private limited company to get that finance in order to expand in the market and generate those higher profits as a whole for that entrepreneur and the business. I hope that helps on sole traders, and I'll be seeing you at the next sesh.